ex-stuttering students whom you can hear speak at WSSA's weekly SAM meeting are also good examples. Lastly, scientific evidence indicates that speaking or reading with positive emotion can accelerate brain rewiring. Personally, passion has been a great help for me. Before using Coach Lee's neuroscience method, I stuttered severely. Speaking with a smile and enthusiasm has significantly reduced my stuttering. In the initial stage of being coached by Coach Lee, I once asked Coach, "Enthusiasm helped me so much. How to maintain passion all the time?" Now I have answered. It can be achieved through mind training. And we have the power to make each day a happy day. Finally, I want to thank Coach Lee for encouraging me to go through science literature. Coach Lee, thank you so much again for coaching and never giving up on any of us. Your presence every week is incredibly motivating and inspiring. And thank you very much all for your attention.
Gave this speech, I felt as if I was sitting in a yoga class, right? It was very smooth. It was as if you were instructing us, right? It was very calm and serene. So that was the effect you had on me. And when you were talking about the positive emotions, right? When you speak enthusiastically, it has more impact on your speech. It makes you speak out of emotions rather than words.
I've known you for a while now, through the speech group. And first, I want to say that your speaking pattern just sounds so good and so natural. I wrote down soft, slow, stops, pronunciation, and you're just hitting upon every one. And what was interesting also is that starting in this answering question, you're doing it also now, because it's a little easier when you're reading something, but when people start to ask you questions, it's a whole nother ballgame, and you're still following that, which I think is great.
Yeah, thank you very much for your comment.
Sherry, hi, nice speech.
Hi.
You have come a long way, and I could see that you did not use any crutch, which is the crutch 13, as our coach says. So it was very smooth, just like a flow river with stops and certain pauses.
Sherry, always love hearing you speak. You speak without any stutter whatsoever, and beautifully. And I love the pace, your stops, your pauses. As a matter of fact, your speaking, I think, is very relaxing to the listener, because you come across as being relaxed and calm and peaceful, and your smile is very effective. You did just a fantastic job. I thought your speech was brilliant, very well researched, beautifully written and presented, insightful, provocative. And your main message is so critical that mind training is the key to overcoming stuttering. And the thought that I had as I listened to you is that what you guys have done or are doing is breaking habits, breaking old habits, the old habit of stuttering, and then learning a new habit of fluency. And so it's interesting, because this is the first time it became so clear to me that's why, as Coach always says, you've got to have 30 consecutive days without a bad incident to become fluent, because you're breaking an old habit. You can't hear that anymore, and you're forming a new habit. And basically, the research on forming habits is that, I looked this up on ChatGPT when you were talking, Sherry, is that on the average, it takes 60 days on the average to form a new habit.
Right.
And it's interesting because that ties right into, typically, when people really apply themselves to the program, somewhere in the 30 to 60 time, the 30 to 60 day time frame, they become fluent. And I had never correlated that to, and it takes 30 to 60 days, well, 60 days on the average, to form a new habit. But it varies widely, of course, by the individual, and it can take anywhere from as little as 18 days to form this new habit, or 8 months, depending upon the person, how much they apply themselves. Another thing I looked up was whether or not it is easier for young people to form new habits versus old people. And basically what it said is, once again, it can vary widely, but in general, younger brains tend to be more plastic. And another observation that I just have is that, older people like me, we have many, many more years of negative habits to unlearn if we're trying to learn a new habit. So to me, just, sort of common sense, if I'm trying to break an old habit at 25, that, assuming that I'm doing the right things, that should be easier than if I'm trying to break that habit at 65, because I've done it 40 years more at 65, but there's so many different, things involved in forming new habits. Discipline, consistency. To me, that's probably the biggest factor. Not age, of course, but discipline.
Sherry, wow. Sherry, always a wonderful talk. As somebody said, Gary or somebody, you have zero trace of having ever stuttered. Zero. And that's not easy to do. That tells us that you graduated to another level, at least when you're giving a talk. You're doing what I like to pride myself in doing, and that is, the more pressure there is, the better I talk, not the worse. And I think you're moving into that category, which is great. The content was wonderful, as Ambassador Siebert and others pointed out. It was kind of a tutorial, and that's and very helpful in terms of, it was more technical, more like the speech studies, the research papers kind of approach. And that's not something we do that often, if at all. And so that was very helpful to hear that perspective. Your pace was wonderful, as has been said by several. Your remarks about me are too kind. There are others here, and many of the ex-stuttering students here, like Pratusha, and Javi, and Danny, and so forth, have gotten their speech down so well, and they're teaching many more people than I can. I'm coaching less and less, and they're coaching more and more. So it's a wonderful thing. We're trying to create something here that's going to outlive all of us and keep living until we get these 80 million stutterers off the planet. We get the stuttering off the planet, that is. So we've got a long way to go.